Punch it!
Hello there, my name is Logan, but you can call me Copycat99, and today I've got another deck tech for you. Today I will be covering Leia Lake Country. Now, normally on these types of, like, in-your-face, me actually having the physical cards, I like to do at least semi-competitive decks. And I'm not completely saying that Leia Lake Country isn't a semi-competitive deck, but I genuinely tend to have a more competitive focus and leave the live deck building to decks that are a little bit harder to get to a point where you can fight meta decks and stand a stronger chance. All that said, sometimes players, especially myself, where I usually play very complicated decks, Trench Colossus being a very prime example of that. That deck is hard as shit to play. That sometimes you just gotta play simple, straightforward decks, and Leia Lake Country is one of those. You literally just play 50 Rebels in your deck, you play a Rebel, you play a second Rebel, you use Leia, and you hit your opponent. And, you know, Lake Country hopefully is helping you win the race. You know, 4 extra HP, or it's an even larger deficit. It's 9 HP deficit against Tarkin Town and ECL. That's the goal. Play Rebels, hit your opponent. So, with that said, let's get into the deck. I am starting off with 3 Pilot R2. First off, 1-cost 1/4 Rebel, great curve filler. Like, I'd play that. Like, I'd play set 1 R2 as filtering. But this one is having the flexibility to pilot for free is really, really crazy. Being able to just, like, sometimes super, like, tall a assault frigate or a Bright Hope or whatever, just lock down space is really sweet, and he helps you do that. And one of the cooler interactions with the deck is you can play R2 on, like, turn 2. So you play a 2-drop on turn 1, and then 2-drop plus R2 on turn 2 to make it difficult for your opponent to kill all your stuff. Then you hit them a little bit, and then on 4, you can play Bright Hope, pick up the R2, draw a card, and then you can just put the R2 back on the Bright Hope. So you basically get a 3/7 Bright Hope for free, because, like, you drew the card to replace the R2 that you had to play to get the Bright Hope to 3/7, so that's really sweet. So just all around, really amazing card. 3 Luke Skywalker, speaking of really amazing cards, 2-cost 3/2 Rebel, almost good enough. Like, we play Battlefield Marine in so many decks. But the 3-cost piloting, that basically is unpunishable. Like, if you put them on a unit and then they instantly kill the unit, you still get the Luke on the ground. If they upgrade hate the Luke, you still get the Luke on the ground. So, like, it's just impossible for your opponent to punish. So he's a really consistent way to just buff up a space unit and start slamming their face. And he's a backup turn 1 play if you need him as a turn 1 play. Speaking of Battlefield Marine, 3 Battlefield Marine. Not much to say. 2-cost 3/3 good. Like, and it's a Rebel. 3 Phoenix Squadron A-Wing. This is basically the space version of Battlefield Marine. Like, 2-cost 3/2, great stats in space. And it's a Rebel that you... Especially important in this deck. This deck plays a lot of pilots, so being able to have targets for your pilots is great. 3 Alliance X-Wing. This is a really bad card that we play anyway, because it is a 2-cost space unit that is Rebel traded, and you can put pilots on it. So it still ends up making the cut. I'm really hoping that in the future, Green Hero gets another Rebel space unit similar to Green Squadron A-Wing to instantly just upgrade the slot, but for right now, you just kind of have to deal with it. It's still good enough, unfortunately. 3 Fleet Lieutenant. It's a Rebel deck. This is a pump on a body. Of course, we're going to play 3 Fleet Lieutenant. 3 Leia. Speaking of pumps on a body, she is a pump on a body for piloted units or units that are piloted traded. So, one of the sweetest things is you can curve Luke on turn 1 into Leia on turn 2. And then you just got, like, Fleet Lieutenant. That's a 3/4. Sure, you get 1 less power, but it's very similar. And it's fitting thematically that these curve so well together. And then sometimes you play 2-cost ship and then put R2 on it, and then you can play Leia, and you get the buff because you piloted R2. So she's just extra pumps. Like I said, the deck is very aggressive. It just really just tries to smash your opponent's face in as fast as possible. 3 Echo-based Defender. Well-statted Rebel traded Sentinel that sometimes you just need to block and attack. Like, especially in racing scenarios, being able to make your opponent have to think about what they're sending into the Echo-based Defender is nice. And it's a target for... I was going to say Wing Leader, but I cut Wing Leader. It's not a target for Wing Leader because I cut Wing Leader. That was a dumb train of thought. Whatever. It's annoying for your opponent to deal with, and it can roadblock their aggression. 3 Blue Leader. The more I play this card, the more insane I'm convinced this card is. Like, the flexibility of 3-cost 3/3 ambush or 5-cost 5/5 ground ambush is so good. Green Hero did not have a Syndicate Lackeys type effect before, and this just really, like, it really helps. It comes up quite often, like if you need to stipe a Sabine or something. And it being Rebel traded is amazing. It being a pilot for targets is amazing, especially a pilot for targets on the ground. That's something unexpected that you can do and get people with sometimes. So just great all-around card. Speaking of no Wing Leader, I'm actually on 3 Millennium Falcon Get Out and Push. So I cut Wing Leader from the deck because I was finding that playing a easy-to-kill unit to make a unit harder to kill felt like a wash. Like, sure, you get a little bit of immediate damage, but it's got a lot of punish in the meta right now. Waylay or Bamboozle. Bamboozle especially. Bamboozle's free. So if you Wing Leader and they Bamboozle and then they kill both your units, you're probably going to die. Like, you just lost your whole board state on the first 2 turns of the game. Which happened versus Quinlan, I was experiencing. So I opted for just playing a more steady, like, 3/4 space Rebel is great stats. We play enough pilots, and sometimes you slap 2 pilots in R2 on this, and you just 10-ball people. Like, that happens sometimes. So it's a pretty decent card. I could see replacing it in the future if we get something better in the slot, but it's played better than Wing Leader for me. 3 Bright Hope. As I already said, bouncing R2 is a lot of fun, but that wouldn't be enough to include in the deck. Similar to Echo-based Defender, having a large roadblock that makes your opponent have to think how they have to deal with it if they want to win the race or kill you is very good. And it's a really chunky body to put pilots on, which is great. 3 General Dodonna. Pumping your whole board is pretty good. Like I said, every unit in this deck is a Rebel, so Dodonna gives them all +1/+1. That is kind of insane value for a 4-drop. In the past, Dodonna has been excluded for these more aggressive decks because he dies to 4/5s for free. But in this deck, I found that you're doing so many other things that they have to like have answers for and think about that sometimes you can just sneak him in and he does 3 damage and soaks an attack, and like that's probably enough for your 4-drop. Also, you can slide him in on the flip turn or off curve, and then people aren't like immediately ready for that. It can throw off math, which is great. So he's been all around pretty good, and I like him especially a lot more in decks that are fully committed to the Rebel. Like, again, 50 out of 50 Rebels makes him a lot better than he usually is in, like, Sabine. And this deck is on so many units, we're going to gotta wrap some cards up here before I show off more of them. Alright, units part 2. 3 Chewbacca. This card, both sides of the card are great. 5-cost 5/6 hard to remove. Great for an aggressive deck. Like, as a pretty close to the top of the curve card that is just, you play it and you're like, okay, so you gotta think really hard about how you're removing this, so you're getting smashed for 5 or 7 with a Fleet Lieutenant. And then the pilot mode, sometimes you just jam Phoenix Squadron A-Wing, chuck Chewbacca on it, and be like, if you've got Bamboozle, you got Bamboozle. Otherwise, I'm hitting you for 6 every turn. You're probably going to die. So, like, it's really great. It applies a lot of pressure on both sides of both axes of the card. And he's a Rebel, of course, so he interacts with the rest of the deck well. 3 MC-30 Assault Frigate. This is the non-traditional, as if Leia Lake Country is a big enough deck to actually have a traditional deck list, piece of the deck that I like. But it is just a massive space unit. 6 power, essentially space unit because of the raid. And Overwhelm, so it can run over Sentinels. Like, it's pretty common that I have killed through double Sentinel. Like, they play U-Wing Reinforcements and play Bright Hope and Echo-based Defender. And then I Rebel Assault, Leia to kill the Sentinel, in with another ground unit, and then MC-30 Assault Frigate over the Bright Hope for a couple Overwhelm, and they just die. Like, it's just a really, really beefy Space Rebel unit, and that is help for closing games, in my opinion. Where did the... Put them in the wrong spot. And then, to round out the ground units, I am on 3 General Recon. Apologies, the other 2 are in a different deck right now. That performed pretty well last weekend, but I'm not going to spoil it unless I played it, in case I get to a PQ this weekend and play it. But this card is a great curve topper. Being able to play it, and similar to the other Sentinels in the deck, mess with race math. Like, being able to just play it, most of the time he Sentinels himself. Sometimes you can Sentinel a weenie and then force them to attack your weenie, but most of the time it's just you Sentinel himself, or you start giving experience to your other Sentinels. Bright Hope or Echo Base Defender are great targets for it. But otherwise, he's a 5/7, so he's pretty like difficult to remove in one shot if they're attacking him. So he can stick around and maybe get an attack off with the Leia ability, which is great. Now that is all for the units. Round off the deck, we have the event payoffs for Rebels. 3 Medal Ceremony and 3 Rebel Assault. Medal Ceremony, 0 cost for 3 experience. Why not? Like, why wouldn't you play this in a Rebel-centric deck? It's just great all around. And it's a 0 cost for Force Throw, which does come up occasionally. And you can pitch it to Ahsoka, not your units exhausted. So it's really, really good versus Quinlan, actually. But... being able to just buff your whole team and threaten even more damage when your opponent's like, I have to claim and kill one of these anyway, or I'm taking a ton of damage is great. And it can buff our leader to 7 HP, which makes her really annoying to remove. 3 Rebel Assault, just like an insane pump. I know it's a little redundant with Leia's ability, but you still get 2 damage out of it, which is great. But when Leia is deployed, feels like one of the most broken cards in the game. If you can maintain Leia plus 2 Rebel units and be able to Rebel Assault and hit with all 3 of them in one action, like, it feels really hard to lose. You just, like, have, like, 10 or 12 damage bursts where you just, like they just fall over. They die. Like, and they can't interrupt it because you're attacking all at once. So it is just a great way of just decimating base health. That is all for the deck. It's a pretty simple one, but, you know, sometimes you gotta play dudes in Smash Face. Let me switch screens because I have got to award some packs for my giveaway. So it should be this. And then let's open a browser. Probably should have done that in advance, but that is in hindsight. So let's see. We have while I'm getting this set up, go down into the comments, like, comment, subscribe, make number go up. I really want to hit 500 by the end of the year. It helps me out a ton. All right, let's see if we can get this on screen. Window capture. This. Okay. So I've got everyone that liked, commented, and subscribed on my Quinlan video that I put out a decent bit ago. So we are going to spin this wheel, and then whoever's name comes up, I'm going to be giving them 3 free packs of Jump to Lightspeed. Thanks as always for supporting the channel. It's awesome. Makes me feel great. Ninja Ferret 5, congratulations. You have won 3 free packs of Jump to Lightspeed boosters. So how I'm going to do this is send me an email with your shipping information. I've got my email down in the description of all my videos that I use for the channel. So just send me an email with your shipping information and some sort of image that lets me verify that is actually you. Like a screenshot of just your YouTube channel page, even if you don't have one, or your home screen or whatever, where I can see it's your actual account. That'd be great. All right. Thank you all for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Helps me out, helps the channel grow, makes YouTube like me more. That's all for this video. I will see you in the next one.